Bats are as scary a symbol of Halloween as you can imagine. But when you see them up close, it turns out they're really more amazing than frightening, as Conor Knighton will show us.
Deep in the heart of Texas, deep inside a cave, millions and millions of Mexican free-tailed bats roost together. 1 square foot of this ceiling can contain more than 500 of them. When it comes to bat colonies, it turns out everything really is bigger in Texas.
So Bracken Cave is the home to the largest colony of bats in the world. We have somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 million Mexican free-tailed bats.
Fran Hutchins is the director of Bat Conservation International at Bracken Cave Preserve, located just outside the city of San Antonio.
They'll all be coming out for dinner here in an hour or so.
Bats can be found all throughout the Lone Star State. The ones that roost under the South Congress Bridge in Austin have even become a tourist attraction.
It's something that's just extremely unique to Austin, and it's just cool.
But there's nothing quite like Bracken.
So what we'll see tonight, we call it a batnado. So this sinkhole behind us is going to fill full of this vortex of bats.
When the bats emerge from the cave to feed each evening, the resulting batnado is so massive it shows up on Doppler radar. They're headed out to surrounding fields to spend the night feasting on insects that feast on crops like corn and cotton. Bats are a natural form of pest control.
So farmers love bats.
Yeah, farmers love bats.
I'd say the rest of the world doesn't necessarily.
They're not sure about bats, so that's part of it. Is that a lot of people, what they know about bats is whatever horror movie they saw last.
In pop culture, bats are depicted as terrifying bloodsuckers.
My bats passed away.
Bats frighten me.
Even Batman is afraid of bats. But one wealthy Texas entrepreneur fell in love with the Bracken bats, inspiring him to pull a Bruce Wayne and build his own bat cave.
After seeing the one down at Bracken Cave, it just knocked me over. I said, that is something.
David Bamberger co-founded fast food chain Church's Texas Chicken. In the late 1990s, concerned about threats to the bat's natural habitat in Texas, he built a giant cave on his sprawling ranch, Sela, near Johnson City. And then, for a long time, no bats showed up. But CBS's Jim Axelrod did.
This is $170,000 if you went out and tried to do it.
So when Bamberger builds the world's largest man-made bat cave, his wallet keeps him from sweating what is so far a $170,000 batless bust.
The millionaire who'd gone batty was big news at the time. The cave was a colossal flop. Until one night, when Bamberger heard the flapping of thousands of tiny wings.
Bats were pouring out of there by the thousands. Tears are running down my face. I'm so happy.
Today, Bamberger's cave, which he's dubbed the Chiroptorium, bats are members of the order Chiroptera, meaning handwing, is home to a couple 100,000 bats, part of his larger conservation-focused preserve. It's impressive. Romantic, even.
Well, our first date was a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Would you care to come and see my bat cave?
Wait, that was the first date?
Yes.
And so what's a gal say to that?
She says, at my age, I've had every come on in my life, but I've never been asked to see a bat cave before.
Bamberger is a 95-year-old newlywed. He married Joanna Reese Bamberger earlier this year. The two still come out to see the bats most evenings.
You sit there absolutely agog because it's just wonderful to look at.
How's it going up?
Looking at the faces of these high schoolers on a field trip to Bracken Cave, you don't see fear, you see awe.
The fun part is watching people that have never seen a bat flight or a bat this close. It can be very emotional for some people.
The majority of these Mexican free-tailed bats will be back in Mexico soon to spend the winter. They won't return to Texas to have their babies until sometime next spring, when they will continue to delight.
Look at them go.
Instead of fright.